But there's another big misconception, especially on like my social media all the time, where people are like, "Oh, it's some trust fund kid." Like, no.
Oh.
Like, people that full time, like I would say the majority of people that we've met on the road at campgrounds, wherever, if they're not retired, they're still working.
What up, y'all? Today's episode of the RV Voice is brought to you by RV Fix. And let me tell you, if you've ever found yourself stranded with an RV issue miles from the nearest service center, you know how frustrating that can be. Well, that's where RV Fix comes in. Imagine having a master RV tech right in your pocket. Yeah, you heard that right. With RV Fix, all it takes is a quick phone call and boom, you're connected via video call with an expert who can guide you through fixing your issue, saving you both time and money. Then here's the kicker. Try RV Fix risk-free with a 14-day free trial. You'll need to enter your card number just like most subscriptions, but don't worry, you won't be charged until after the trial ends. If you decide to continue, please use the code RVVoice at checkout. This really helps support the RV Voice and keeps us going strong, and we really appreciate it. Seriously, guys, this is a game changer. Stay on the road and keep your RV in tip-top shape with RV Fix. Learn more at rvfix.com. Alrighty, welcome to another show of the RV Voice. Today we have a younger couple. I didn't ask their age. We'll get to that. But they've been full-timing for about a little over a year. They got married on November 11th, and they made a wish to be in a full-time RV lifestyle, and gosh dang it, it happened. So they have two fur babies, and they're traveling around in a 22 RV Grand Design Imagine. So it's a little rear bath, probably 28-foot top total. And I'm excited to hear from them. We started talking to them. Their name are Jack and Morgan with Mack on the road. What's up, buddy?
Thanks for having me, Jake.
We've been going back and forth on TikTok. Yeah, we've been going back and forth on TikTok, and I'm not. If you guys follow me, I'm not real great at TikTok. It's TikTok. Here's this. I don't like TikTok as much, but I'm glad. Get it down. You are one of two people that I've talked to, and here we go on TikTok. So, buddy, yeah, I'm going to kind of talk. Let's just kind of dive into it. You know, you and your wifey. She is not here today. She's feeling under the weather. 'Tis the season. If you guys are watching this, we're actually filming this on January 8th. I have so many episodes. It's going to take a while for me to get this one out, but it'll get out there. So that's why she's sick. It's just the season. But Jack, talk to us about like, what's your, I guess, where are you from? What do you do? And then we'll talk about Morgan as well, because she's not here, but we got to include her. And then you're traveling with, I mean, you got two fur babies as well. So talk about them, and then we'll kind of dive into the personal journey after that.
Sounds good. So Morgan and I are both from Florida, different parts. So she's from the Sarasota area, and I'm from Pensacola. We ended up both living in Nashville for a period of time. Started dating. It was late 2020. She was actually living in New York City. So I'm kind of all over the place because nomads, right? But she was in New York City. We start dating. She ends up moving to Nashville. We spent a couple of years there. And then we start hitting the road right after we got married on 11/11. And you're right, you nailed it. The wish came true. We've got Goose, our dog, and Lou, our cat. Both rescues, both awesome. Goose is kind of a lunatic, and if you guys either follow us or see our YouTube videos, you can see him running around having the best time of his life out here. And Lou, she's a little bit more skittish. She likes to hang out in a little cubby that we made for her in the RV. But yeah, it's been amazing so far, Jake. It's been a real blast.
That's awesome, buddy. I envy y'all because I want to do it. The fact that you were up in Whitefish a while ago when we first talked to you, like Kalispell area, and then you were running down, you're just snowboarding, you're living out of a camper, and then you go down to now Park City area. I'm like, yeah, man, I bought a van for this reason. I have a 2000 GMC Safari to do the exact same thing. I can ski bum like the best of them. Yes. I'm really good at it, but I also like my luxuries. So it's a little bit of struggle for me, but if I could ski all winter long and work 9 months of the year, I'd do that. But anyway,
the luxuries are huge.
Huh?
I said the luxuries are huge. The amount of convincing that, I guess it wasn't too much, but to get Morgan to come along with me was, job well done on my end. There.
Perfect. So this was your idea. This is actually kind of interesting because a lot of it, usually it's the gal that's the one that kind of is the driver of it. So the fact that it's your idea. pretty cool.
I would say I don't know if I'd claim that it was my idea. She'd probably be like, "Yeah, come on," probably give me an elbow if she was here right now. But um, I would say that it was a joint effort in terms of like, oh man, we could really do this, like this whole like living on the road type thing. Like we could absolutely do that. And then it was just like, hey, it's got a shower in the RV, right? And we can always go to truck stops. Like we'll have all the other stuff that everyone's got. And so, she came around to it and she was like all on board for it in the beginning for sure. And yeah, so what I'm
Okay.
convincing, I don't want to portray that in the wrong light.
Well, it was somebody's idea, but it came together and it worked out for you guys.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, let's kind of dive into the personal journey of like what inspired you to transition to the full-time RV life, because you were living in Nashville. It's not a bad spot to be.
Love Nashville.
And how old are you? By the way, how old are you two?
27 and 28.
Perfect. So yeah, you're kind of a younger couple, especially in the RV, full-time RV realm. Not a whole lot of you. Not a whole lot of you, but so what kind of inspired you to transition to the full-time RV life? Because you're giving up, a fun nightlife in Nashville and then doing, the regular 9 to 5 thing. That's why I would leave. But can you share your story of how you all got first started with the RVing life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really goes back to, there was one trip in particular, where Morgan and I went to South Lake Tahoe and I taught her how to snowboard. And she'd been a little bit when she was younger, and but she wasn't like she wouldn't say that like, yeah, I can snowboard. And so for that weekend, I just took the time, taught her, and I've been going since I was a kid. And then that weekend, she absolutely fell in love with it. I was already in love with it. So we get back to Nashville, and we're like, how do we do that as much as possible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do we continue our lifestyle? Because, we still had to work, we still have debt. But how can we go and just snowboard as much as possible, while still, achieving our financial goals and all that kind of stuff? So I would say it originated there. And Morgan, I would say she just kind of went to town on doing research and figuring out, like, is this, do we want to do a van? Do we want to do a truck camper, travel trailer? And so that idea just got put into our head, and we're like, could we actually go live in a camper full time? Is this something that we could really do?
Yeah.
And it passed, like, my dad was very skeptical. He's like, you're gonna do what? Very old fashioned, Navy guys we discussed earlier. But yeah, I would say our love of snowboarding and our love of travel and just wanting to get it done before, kids come along and the mortgage comes along, which is why not just do it now instead of waiting till we're retired or later on in life.
Dude, that's incredible. There's The Power of Now. I think that's a book. Yes. Actually, I've not read the book.
Yep.
But the fact that you took took life by the horns and just did it is, I commend you for that, because that's hard to do. It's almost like a, what do you call that? I don't know, stereotype of like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
This is like, you're supposed to, after college, you're supposed to find a job, and then you go to 9 to 5 every day. And then you got to find a wife, have a family, buy a house. It's like,
nailed it.
That's changed a lot in the last 10 years. It's not exactly super easy. Yeah, it's very hard to kind of go about that life. Like I could go buy a nice house right now, but I'd be house poor and I'd be glued to it. I couldn't like just rent it out. So, I can't even rent it out for what I would pay for it. So it'd be brutal. So like the fact that you guys are doing that, taking life by the horns, doing exactly what you want to do now is super awesome. So, but let's talk about preparation and planning to do so, because I'm guessing you had a steady job when you were in Nashville, both of y'all, and then you decided to do this lifestyle that changes things up, kind of throws wrenches in the whole life plan, right? So preparation and planning, what steps did you take to prepare to go full time? And then how did you choose your first RV? And what advice would you give somebody choosing their first RV to go?
Sure. I kind of want to start. I mentioned Morgan was in New York, right? And she was a makeup artist up there. She was living like the New York lifestyle, Upper East Side before COVID. She was killing it. And then she met me and had to move to Nashville, right?
This is my second makeup artist I've had on the show. I'm not kidding you, from New York.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Have you heard of
Well, okay,
BB
whoever
and
that
the
is.
RV?
No,
So
no.
they're renovators or flippers or they flip RVs. They renovate. People hire them to renovate an RV completely, and it's like they come out with incredible stuff. You should check them out. BB and
No
the RV.
kidding. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. I'm gonna shoot them a DM. We'll try to connect with them. BB and the RV.
that's
All right.
right. Yep.
So, now, yeah, now you're second makeup artist in the show. I don't know if the story is going to be the same. But essentially, when she moved to Nashville, it kind of went hand in hand. Like, I need to find a remote job. And I'd already been working remote. I was in tech sales for a while and made a transition into marketing. That's a whole other thing. But I'm really proud of Morgan because she went from having, and it's not what she said earlier. It's like, oh, you got to go to college, get your 9 to 5 job. But she didn't go to college, like traditional college. Like she learned skills in makeup school. But she went into the corporate world with no corporate experience or like the standard traditional education type, right? So what she did is kind of took some of my sales skill. I'll do a little plug in there, but when she was looking for jobs, she made her resume, right, and then every single person that she applied to, or excuse me, every company that she applied to, she would shoot the recruiter and the manager a LinkedIn message and just say like, hey, I just wanted to kind of put you on the radar. My name's Morgan, just applied. And so she ended up landing a job in Nashville that was kind of like a hybrid role where it was some time in the office, time from home, right? I didn't have this problem because I've been working remote for a while. And from that job, as we're continuing to think about RV life, it's like, okay, we need to really see if she can get a full-time remote job. So she uses that job to get a now full-time remote job. That company wasn't a great fit for her, I'd say. So she spent, I think it was 8 months to maybe even a year at that company to where she now landed at her current company, which is stellar. They're cool with her working remote. She loves her team and her boss, and like they all love that she does this. So I think like really making those steps, like all the way from makeup artist to she's in HR now, so she's like an HR specialist, I guess you could call it. So making that jump, it took a couple of steps, but she stayed at it. She knew what she wanted. She wanted to work remote, be able to work from the RV, and she made it happen. So that was like, talk about preparation. That was probably the major thing that we had to do, was make sure that she had the capability to continue making income, because mine did not make enough for both of us, unfortunately.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
I know, right? Like this comment here. So she gets this remote job, and in terms of preparation on that, like I was talking about this earlier, like she started doing some insane amount of research on, okay, is it going to be a van, a truck camper, or a travel trailer that we're gonna choose? And I had a truck at the time, so I was kind of leaning towards travel trailer and truck camper. Just throw it on top there and be good to go, or just pull it wherever we want. So we started talking about like, okay, what's really important to us here? Is it space, affordability, a number of different things. And we landed on travel trailer for a couple of reasons: that we could park it wherever we want and take the truck and go explore. That was big for us. We didn't want to have to pack up the van every single time and go into town with the van and all of our stuff. And it's nice having a little home base, and you don't lose your camp spot. So that's nice. We found that, like, obviously truck campers were probably the cheapest option, and you might know this, Jake. Like, vans can be very expensive.
I would say the truck campers are just as expensive, but we can talk that.
Would
later.
you?
Well, not just as expensive. Let me take that back. Coming from my sales background, truck campers are a different type of expense. They're technically an accessory, so you pay sales tax right then and there as you're purchasing.
Oh, okay.
And then there's other things added onto that. You got another $3-4 grand just to get on tie downs. So, like, if someone came in, if you were to come into me and say you want a truck camper, I'd do everything in my power to get you away from that truck camper. Like, I was like, I would have put you on a travel trailer immediately. And then the vans, yes, vans are stupid expensive. But my apologies for interrupting you. Please keep going.
No, honestly, I didn't even know that. so Morgan did. Maybe that's why she's probably the best bet. Uh, I think to add on to that, I'd never grown up with trailers or anything like that. Sorry if Goose hears me talking. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm gonna jump up here.
That's fine. You can bring him in if
Um,
you want.
he's like, "What's up, guys?" Um, I the only trailer I'd ever pulled was a boat when I was young, and it was a small boat, nothing big. And it had been years since I'd pulled anything. And Morgan's parents had grown up with a travel trailer for a long time, so we were kind of like leaning that way anyway. But we just wanted to do our due diligence, and that took a while to decide like really what we wanted to do. So space, affordability, we had to look into the size of camper in terms of weight. Like, could my truck pull it? And this is, we can get into this if you want, but I made a terrible truck purchase, even though she's doing great. She's done a fantastic job. It's Ford F-150. And I love that truck, but the towing capacity, like, this is me just being naive. I didn't even realize that there were different sizes of engines, right? So it's a 2.7 liter F-150 EcoBoost, right? So it's basically for project managers to show up at the job site and tell people what's right, not to really pull a whole lot. And so this rig, it falls within towing capacity safely, I might add. So trying to figure out what exactly the rig was going to be was paramount for us. We landed on the 22 RBE, and this is actually the one with the dinette that I'm sitting in now. A lot of them come with the like the theater seats, right?
Like a love seat type.
And I think something else. Yeah. And I think that this one in particular was kind of hard to find. Morgan was like a hawk on all these websites trying to find this particular model because we wanted the dinette to be able to work. And you can turn it into the couch, which we do occasionally. But this particular model was relatively hard to find. So in terms of preparation, like finding this and going to get it was also a huge part in timing and all that kind of stuff. So advice that I would give to somebody who might be looking to get into this is, at least in our experience, it didn't just happen overnight, right? This was a long drawn out process. We knew we wanted to do it maybe even 2 years in advance. We didn't really get serious about it until maybe a year in advance, but we kind of made steps to get there. So I would say for anybody looking to do full-time travel, especially in a travel trailer where you're going to have to maybe even finance your rig and make preparations for that, you got to start early. 100% would be my advice. And really lock down your plan before you start making any sort of financial decisions, because there's it's all these people probably listening to this that may own or have owned RVs, like they know it can get pretty expensive pretty quick.
Very much so. And like there's a lot of people that, so we're you and I are not in the situation to dump a home, cash out on the appreciation and go buy a truck and whatever. We're not in that situation. But a lot of people are, and that's a lot of people are typically around 35 and up, if not older than that do the full-time thing. And goodness gracious, I mean, for us to do it, it's like, well, we have to take out a loan, we have to do this, and then we have to make money on top of that, and then we got to pay for where we're staying, and then we got to pay for gas and pay for just to live. There's a lot of steps involved. Luckily, with the Grand Design 22 RB, I'm guessing you're, depending on how much you put on backside. Did you buy it used or new?
It was new.
It was new. Okay, so I'm guessing your payments under $500 a month. Yeah. So
honestly, for our experience buying the RV, and again, this is I have to give the credit to Morgan here. She timed it just right. She knew exactly what we should be paying for it, and I think that particular dealership, we had to go up to Detroit to get this thing from Nashville. It wasn't a hard drive; it was easy, but
no.
They were going right into winter, and this is a very peculiar model. Not a lot of people wanted it. Like, they're going on the weekends. They want to be able to sit around in their nice love seats and watch TV. We wanted the dinette, and we knew it, and we knew what we wanted to get it for. And I think we practically stole it a lot. Give it a little pat on the back to Morgan there. But I think like timing of when you're going to buy it is important. And I think we nailed it. I think we just nailed it. So we got it for a pretty good price. Our payments low, and you're exactly right. Like we couldn't just like drop a bunch of cash and huge down payment, and we're paying almost nothing for this thing. Like no, we had to strategically get the price down and get everything down, especially with all the goodies that get thrown at you too. So we got a couple of those, but yeah, I would say timing is everything, and planning it out. Yeah.
Yep. I'll throw a plug in there for that, man. Buying in the wintertime, buying in December, you're going to get great deals. Problem is,
for sure,
a lot of the people are north of like Kansas, and no one's like, I'm not going to use it for 6 months. This is true.
Yes.
But if you want a smoking deal coming in December, because we want the deal, because we're already dying down. We're almost begging for it. Like, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The guy in there that I was talking to, the business, the business manager was like, you know, did you do this on purpose? And I was like, well, yeah, kind of. Like we just waited. And then, so for us, like, you know, we were getting into the RV a month later after we bought it. Right. So like hitting right at that cold season, we knew that we were going to start traveling. So it was easy for us. It was kind of a no brainer. Some people might not be in the same financial situation, which I totally understand that. But if you have the means and you're able to, for sure be a good time to do it. Hope you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I've said it before, and they understand it. But well, anyway, so yeah, you guys actually kind of did have some preparation and planning involved there. It sounds like you did take the right steps besides buying the truck at the wrong time and didn't know all that. But that's another thing that not a lot of people know. And if you are watching this episode, I met with Josh, the RV nerd, and JD from Big Truck, Big RV, and we really dove in depth, whatever. You get what I'm saying, about half-ton towability, and I'll put that in the comments on here. But big, awesome, great video to really understand half-ton towability, because like your situation, the 2.7 is actually a pretty decent tow package, probably another 9,000 pounds, 8,500 to 10,000-ish, somewhere in there. And yeah, well, I'm embellishing, but you made it work. That's the good part, Jack.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah. So you'll figure it out. You'll have to know. You find the trailer, and then you buy the truck. And that's the better way of doing it. But anyway, so your daily life and your challenges and solutions. There's different things going on right now. So your daily life has changed since you were in Nashville. You've been at this for about a year now. So this is like perfect timing to really understand what you've gone through in the last year. What does a typical day look like for you guys while RVing? I mean, it's a little different than, because you guys weren't really, you guys just got married how many years ago? 2 years ago?
A little over a year ago.
So, this all happened right when you got married. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The very next day we hit the road. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Happy honeymoon.
Yeah.
we're leaving.
Right. Yeah. Everyone was like, what are you doing? You guys are going to hate each other. No, we're
oh, all right. But it's different than living in a house or apartment or whatever you guys were doing. Mm-hmm. So how do you manage everyday tasks? Because you're in a small unit. 22 RBE is not very big. And that's, I mean, for everybody watching out there, it's like 22 foot from tip to tail on the wall to wall. Sorry. And then tip to tail is probably 26-ish foot, maybe 28 foot top end. Mm-hmm. And they're about, I don't know, 6 foot 6 ceilings in a Grand Design. And 8 foot wide. So you're in a very small, a couple hundred square feet tops, maybe 150, 200 square foot, right?
Mm-hmm. I'd say so. Yeah.
So what are some of your biggest challenges that you faced while RVing, and how have you overcome them?
So I think we're, compared to a lot of the RVers, we're probably in a more unique situation. We boondock probably 90% of the time. Like
that's awesome.
We generally we go to campgrounds kind of like as a treat. You know, we just want to have electric and water and stuff at our disposal. Because you know, I never told this. Maybe I should have mentioned this earlier. So we were trying to save some money too. You know, rent in Nashville was astronomical. You know, us getting married, you know, we couldn't have roommates anymore, and so we're like, okay, maybe it's a way to save some money, and it has been. We've been able to save a good bit, but in terms of challenges, specifically for us, boondocking has been winter, and we've spent a lot of time kind of honing in exactly how we go about it. And so, like, you know, we were talking earlier about kind of, you know, what the daily life looks like, right? So that's waking up to a rather cold camper, and then throwing on my jacket and going cranking the generator on because I don't really love running it at night. So I'll crank that up and let Goose run around and have the time of his life. But a lot of times you wake up and pipes are frozen. Maybe we ran out of propane in the middle of the night, God forbid. But maybe a quick run into town to to go fill those up. But the challenges for winter specifically have we talk about it a lot. It's like, man, this is not normal. Because if you do have the financial capability, there's those things like the air like those
skirts.
airbag skirting, the air skirts,
Yep.
and those would be awesome. Like if we had those, and so we move out once a week, twice maybe 2 or 3 times a month, and having to put up skirting, like the foam skirting every single time would be a major pain. So we opt out of that. So a lot of times we just have like an open air underbelly. And so, we'll wake up and our pipes are frozen. Maybe even some of the water bottles that we have on hand are frozen because they're sitting too close to the wall. It can get real cold. So the challenges there definitely come up pretty often. And it's something that we have to deal with. Yeah.
That's an interesting one because you got to be careful with pipes freezing because the ice expands and it'll bust those pipes. So good luck to you on that. I'm actually going to send you a link later to keep you warmer. And I'm going to let you guys test it so I can do it in my van. But,
I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's supposedly safe interior wise. I don't know. But anyway, so you've been at this for a year now. Have you had any issues with the RV? So what I'm asking is like, how do you handle maintenance and repairs while traveling? Are you a handy guy? Do you do it yourself? Do you stop at service shops? What do you do, Jack?
So I'll this is kind of like a 2-part story, and I'll give Bishes a plug here because so as you guys know, whenever you get a brand new RV, everything starts breaking like the first couple times you drive it, right? Like
it's not if, it's when. It's when.
It's when, yeah, that's exactly right. So that our honeymoon, the first 2 weeks after we got married, everything broke. Fuses, water heaters, some pipes, our decorations and everything were starting to fall off. So in terms of like the actual maintenance, I've done everything myself thus far. And thank goodness nothing major has happened other than a couple of little wires getting or the breakers, the fuses, little water heater, I can't remember what it's called. It like cut out and we were getting some error codes on the little command center over here. But yeah, I would say that first 2 weeks, Jake, it was like every day we were pulling over and I'd have to run into Ace and go pick something up and fix it. I was like, what are we getting ourselves into? And the only thing that helped was the beautiful places that we were going through like New Mexico and Arizona and Utah, California. It was incredibly beautiful. So I was like, man, this is awesome, but this also sucks at the same time.
Yeah. So I don't know what to be, happy or sad.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing major happened, thank goodness. And everything was able to be fixed myself. The only time that we've ever actually had to take our RV in is when in Whitefish, Montana, and this is last winter. So it was right before Christmas, and I'm telling you, on Christmas Eve, our pipes, everything froze on Christmas Eve for the first time. So we were like, Merry Christmas. Right,
wonderful, everyone.
Our Christmas dinner is like spread out on the counter. Everything is just chock full of food. Can't clean anything. So we were like, all right, what do we do? And so, being at Whitefish, we snowboard for 2 more days, and then we make our way down to Bozeman. And I go into the Bishes at Bozeman, and I'm like, hey, do you guys have? I was looking on YouTube and some fixes. You guys have tank feeders, and if so, can we get those installed? And they were like, well, we don't have any, currently in the shop, but you can order some. We'd be happy to install them and all that kind of thing. And then the general manager, I cannot remember his name, but he was like, he kind of heard me talking, and he comes over and he goes, hey, you guys could kind of thaw out your camper in one of our bays for free, if if that's something that you'd want to do. And we were like, dude, that's music to our ears. Yes, we would like to thaw out our camper and try this
Please,
again.
please.
Please. And he was like, yeah, sure. So he goes, give me a couple days to free up a bay, and I'll let you guys know, and you can come back up. So we go down to Big Sky for New Year's Eve, and then on I think it was the day after. So yeah, January 2nd of last year. This is New Year, right? So yeah, it was around this time last year we ended up putting the RV in one of the bays, and they thawed it out in like 2 days. And a really nice gentleman who worked there, and I feel bad. I'll give you names afterwards, Jake, because they were really awesome people, like really awesome, helpful people. That he was like, hey, I took a look at the underbelly. Here's what you could do. You could add in some insulation here. Here's what's going to cost. Like no charge for taking a look at everything. And it was just like a lot of handshake deal type thing. And I was like, thank you guys so much, because I was able to get in the underbelly at his direction and kind of fix everything up, add some heat wire and some exposed pipes and insulation. I was able to do everything myself. Just because, like, they were like, I'll be honest, if you did want us to do this, it might cost X, Y, and Z. But they gave me everything that I need to do myself, and I was able to do it at the direction. So I'm so thankful for the Bozeman Bishes folks, because you guys really hooked it up and were really kind to us as well.
That's awesome.
So besides that, the only other thing that is really broken is our weight distribution hitch. We have a Blue Ox weight distribution hitch, and one of the you guys can imagine, like, when we're boondocking, there's some pretty difficult places that we get into, and maybe it's just because we're naive or young. We're like, yeah, we can go over there, no problem. Well, one of these hills in particular broke off one of the weight distribution, like, tongues or whatever it is. So that snapped off and
broke one of the arms.
It broke, I guess not the tongue. It broke the L-bar that it sits on.
Oh, okay.
And so it snapped the bolts off of that. And so I wasn't able to get into it with my drill with an extractor kit. So I was able to take it into a Bishes in Salt Lake City, and they just pretty much, they had the turrets first off, which nobody else did, which was super clutch. And then the guy that was there, I think his name was, I want to say his name was like Justin or Jeremy or something like that. I'll have to get his name too, but he just came out and he was like, hey, your hitch is wrong. I was like, what? So I'm driving around on the hitch, and he goes, this weight distribution hitch is like barely even working right now. He goes, who put this on? Like, another dealership. And so he goes, no, so let me do it. And so he goes in there and takes care of it and fixes something. So everything that we've had to do in terms of repairs has been just kind of like off the cuff, really quick. Nothing that we've really had to do overnight except for the thawing out. And we just got an Airbnb, and it was nice. It was honestly a nice little, like, break in the action.
Home away from home. It was like a vacay while on vacay, but you're not on vacay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's really cool.
That was a long-winded answer to all the repairs.
That's all right, man. So you've done a lot of it yourself, which is super cool. Not everybody has handy. And now people out there that aren't as very handy, but don't want to do the YouTube Academy, you can talk to RV Fix, and we'll talk more about that later. But you'll see the beginning of the show, and then I'll plug it in within the description below. You do not have children, but you do have fur babies, and this is going to be the first time that we actually talk about pets on the RV Voice. We've talked about, I've seen a pet or two, like that, but let's talk about how you take care of pets on the road, because that's a totally different animal too. I mean, that's kind of good.
For sure.
No pun intended. So you have a cat and a dog, and I have a dog. And it's a lot. I mean, just as a single guy, like, having a dog, that's a totally different, like, that's a responsibility that I wasn't expecting how much it was going to be. But how does it work on the road? Because it's a little different. To do that, you have dog food, cat food, litter box, stuff like that. How does it all work for you guys?
Sure. I'll talk about Lou first, the cat, because she's super easy. Like I said, she was kind of skittish earlier, so she hides a lot, but she is a really sweet cat. She comes and hangs out with us. But for her specifically, obviously, like, litter box was a huge consideration. So before we hit the road, we have a little garage space, and I have a YouTube video on this as well. Shameless plug. But um, what we did essentially was net off a portion of the garage just with a little cargo net. And again, I do everything cheap because we're not rich by any means. Little cargo net with some command hooks and just fenced off part of the garage essentially. And then by our bed,
Garage.
there's a
You have a
perfect
garage?
or sorry, garage. I call it the garage. It's the underbellies or the understorage, like the pass
Oh,
through.
okay.
Excuse me, the
Oh,
pass through.
okay.
Yeah, I know.
Like, wait, what kind of? This is not a 22 RV.
So not a garage, the pass through storage. And there's a perfect little entryway for me to cut into. And so, I grew up on boats, so I knew the perfect thing for this. I get a little boat porthole that you can just kind of screw under or screw off. And we cut a little circle and we put that little boat porthole there, and she can just go in and out of the litter box in the bedroom, no problem.
Nice.
And then with Goose, Goose is a very high energy dog that, he likes chasing cats, but he never gets her because he's not quick enough. But she needed a little place to kind of just go hang out. She needed a little cubby. So underneath the bed, I sectioned off a piece where she could be, and I just cut another little porthole underneath the bed. And then the solar and a little bit of extra solar storage is on the other side of that little divider piece. You can see that all in the YouTube video, but it worked out amazing. Like, she has a nice little spot where she can hang out. We got a little bed and her water and her food. And, once Goose is asleep, and she likes being out at night anyway, so she comes up and hangs out with us. No problem. And then with Goose, I said earlier, like, he's a very high energy lunatic dog. But he's a lot of fun. He's like the best camping companion. He's the man. I love him. And with Goose, honestly, Jake, he's just like a happy-go-lucky dog. He just rolls with the punches. He's like, "Yep, this is where we're going. I'm cool with it." When he was a puppy, he maybe destroyed some things, but in the RV, he hasn't. And mealtime comes around, he starts whimpering. You feed him, and then he's just off in the woods playing most of the time. So he's been super easy. But I would say, like, with the part of the consideration of getting the trailers, having a little bit of space, because he likes getting up and running around and looking out windows and having a place to kind of sit away from us sometimes. So it is nice having extra space in the trailer for him.
Yeah, definitely. How big of a dog is he? What is he?
So he's 85 pounds. He's half white German Shepherd and half Staffordshire Terrier. And then I guess I say half. And then he's like a mix of a bunch of other stuff. We did one of those DNA tests on him, and that's what it came out to. But he's a really cool, he kind of looks like a dingo or like a coyote. He's nice and white with big ears. He's a cool looking dog.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
I'll just send you a picture.
Yeah, I'll find it out. I'll find it here somewhere. Anyway, so thank you for that, because I've never asked that question. So I'm gonna keep that one in there. I'm gonna add it for the next one. So if you guys are watching this and you're getting on, be prepared to answer questions about your cats and dogs and stuff.
That's right.
I've heard people with guinea pig stuff as well.
No kidding. I've seen some snakes in some people's rigs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I don't mind snakes. I'd rather have snakes than spiders, but I don't need them as a pet.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
Yeah. But anyway, so financial aspects. You guys went from regular 9 to 5, being in the office. You guys worked your way into a remote style job. I mean, is that all you guys do? Is like that's your two jobs? Like, the reason I ask is, like, how do you sustain this lifestyle financially? It sounds like you do the boondocking, so that's one way. And then whatever jobs you have, I want to hear what those are. And then are there any specific tips that you would tell somebody about how to earn an income on the road?
So I would say that 99% of our income comes from our 2 9 to 5 jobs. Okay. The other 1% is the minuscule, the pennies that we get from social media. Which, social media is just a lot of fun to do for me. And it's been a blast to build a community outside of that as well. But yeah, I would say, for us, Morgan in HR and myself in marketing, that is all of our income, right? And so for us, we have to find time and a good location where there's no trees. where we can use Starlink to actually work. Her and I, we don't have really like a client facing role, which a lot of people that I've met have. So they're still in sales, so they have to have a nice little background, right? But as long as we can hop on the call and talk to team members or just email and fix whatever's going on, we're good to go, right? So I wouldn't say that for a lot of people it's different than really just having an at home setup. Okay, it's like, I work from my dinette here. I got high speed internet, and I got my little computer set up and pods. I'm good to go. So it's just a remote 9 to 5 job. Just we're in a new place every single week, and that's what we love.
Same shiz, different day.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So on top of that, like, what about a budgeting advice? You did mention boondocking. I know that you guys do a lot of that because, it costs money to stay at nice resorts or nice camping, RV parks, whatever it may be. What other budgeting advice would you give someone considering the full-time life?
Yeah, a big one is investing in something that can get you to, like, if you're going to boondock, and that's a way of saving money. It's investing in solar and a good generator for you to actually have energy and a way to work your full-time job, And so a lot of the we'll call it negotiation that, Morgan's boss specifically was like, "You're going to do what?" And then she did this in the interview process. She was very honest. And she goes, "Yeah, like, we have Starlink and we have solar and we have a generator. So I'll always have electric, and I'll probably have better internet than you do." That's pretty much what we went about it. And that's been the case.
She went for it.
A lot of times. Yeah, she's a very honest person, very matter of fact for sure. And I would say investing in the beginning in what you're going to need to sustain your job, because a lot, that comes first. That's our income source. If I have plans to shoot something for social media, but something for work comes up, like, that comes first, and we have the ability to do that, which is really nice. So investing in that, and then another good piece of advice especially if you're moving around a lot to some really cool places, is, you're not on vacation. So you can't go to these ski towns and go eat the $25 burger and a beer all the time. Like, you kind of have to refrain yourself. And Morgan says this all the time. She always goes, "I feel like we just stepped outside and spent $100. I'm like, "I know, we're going to tone it back a little bit." And maybe because I love hanging out at the lodge at a ski resort and having a beer and, maybe having a cocktail or something like that. And that gets expensive quick. So, if we go on hikes or if we go on the resort, bringing food and maybe drinks, if, I won't condone that for whatever. You guys do what you want, but
it's vacation.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. And being able to, like, you have your home with you. You have everything that you would have at home here, right? So why wouldn't you bring that on your hike or on your ski resort or anything like that? And then try to refrain from the really nice looking restaurants and all of the fun stuff to do around the town, because that's what they want.
No, absolutely.
Everything in moderation, really, Jake. It's like, we don't want to just only, look at the town. Like, we'll go out to dinner occasionally, but we know within our means, like, what we can afford, and we just go from there.
I definitely think it's probably a lot more apparent when you're on the road, though, too, because money's going a lot more different ways when you're on the road versus, like, this is, almost you fall into more of a routine when you're in one spot. Now that you guys move, and like, well, we got to, we're going 10 hours in the next 2 days. I mean, that's gas money for this month. That goes a lot. I mean, that's, money goes out faster than it comes in for I'd say 95% of the population. It's just how it is, or whatever. And it's probably I don't know, somewhere around there. But it's interesting to see, exactly, like, don't go on vacation and be on vacation the whole time. You want to be on vacation because you're going out there. That's part of the experience. You're going out and seeing these places.
Yeah.
You want to be out in Kalispell. You want to be down in Utah. You want to be out in Oregon, wherever it may be. Obviously, you got to flourish a little bit. You're like, might as well splurge on that. That looks like a really good Italian restaurant. They can make it better than I can.
Exactly. Like, a great example of this is, so when we were in Jackson Hole, And if a lot of you have ever skied Jackson Hole, you guys would know that there's like a nice little waffle shop at the top um, of the gondola, and it's like the staple. They have like T-shirts and all this, and everyone says, "Oh, you got to go get a waffle." And at that period of time, we had just been running through propane because it was so cold. It got down to negative 35 degrees, just running through it. And so we're spending a lot of money on that, on gas to keep the generator going, and just it was tight. But we're like, all right, we're here. This is the staple at the top of this. Like, let's just go get the waffle, and it's got all sorts of good stuff on it. So like, okay, we got to experience what the town has, and you can say like, yeah, I got the waffle in Jackson Hole. Like maybe that's not the biggest thing to do there, but to us, we're foodies. We're like, yeah, this is great. You want to give me T-shirts if you have the extra money, but that's a good example of that. It's like if there's something that you even went to the town for specifically, yeah, go do that. You might just have to cut your costs elsewhere, and just remember that the whole thing is not in the vacation. Maybe just part of that day is.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to plug it because you still have to splurge every once in a while. You're doing
Sure.
life differently than most people, but you got to do it within your means. So I appreciate that. And before we kind of go on to the next question, which is community and connection, I'm going to talk about RV Fix real quick here. We have a $199 sale price right now, guys, on RV Fix. RV Fix basically helps keep you guys on the road faster than it would be actually taking it into an RV service shop. Every repair is different, but RV Fix can help you keep your RV in your hands versus us having it or any service shop having it for weeks, months, days, whatever it may be. So if you want that code, use promo code RV Voice because it helps us keep going. So that being said, community and connection, Jack. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Community and connection. So it sounds like you found a little community for yourself. You said TikTok is one of your big communities and YouTube is another one. But have you found community within the RV world itself? Have you met people? Have you gone to any rallies? Have you done any community events, Thousand Trails by chance? Anything like that? Have you found that you and Morgan have fit in with other people within the RV community?
To be honest, this is somewhere where we lack. No rallies, no Thousand Trails or anything like that for us. And in terms of community, like obviously the online community that I've created, but a big part of that is following other RV accounts or commenting on each other's stuff. And so there's been a couple of not even necessarily RV people, but just young travelers in general that we'll message back and forth, hey, where are you guys going to be at? And nothing has really worked out at this point. And which is funny for me because like I'm a very when I was in Nashville and all throughout my life, like I've been a very, very, very social person. I need to go out with friends and go to restaurants and go to the parties and all that kind of stuff. Like that's always been a big thing for me, and we have not been doing that since we really hit the road. But it hasn't. I thought it would bother me because people would ask me like, "Oh, you're not going to know anybody out there. What are you going to do?" And I was like, "I'll just deal with it." It hasn't bothered me really in the slightest because Morgan is, my wife, my best friend. I get to hang out with her all the time, and we go and do cool stuff all the time. And I also have like a really tight knit, close group of friends that I constantly talk to multiple times a week. I don't feel as if I'm like missing out on any, or just friendship in general. Now, I do make an effort to go and talk to strangers. I love talking to locals and seeing what the deal is with the town and like where to go and just learning about them. It's funny that an old timer that I met at a bar one time was the one that told me, "Oh, you went." I was like, "Whoa, now." So he,
Wait a buddy, you skipped out there. You skipped out there. I didn't hear any of that. So say that one more time. The old timer said what?
The old timer was the one that kind of put it on my radar that my engine was small in my truck.
He's making fun of you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Oh man, you gotta get one of those diesel things, and you'll pull that camper just fine." I'm like, "My truck pulls my camper fine, thank you." But no, we love talking to local. Yeah, we love getting the gouge from locals, and there's one guy that I met in Telluride. It was the funniest thing. we're up on like this mountaintop camping by ourselves, and he comes up with a guitar. It was him and one other guy, and they just start playing drums and playing guitar on the top of this mountain. I'm like, what the heck is that music? So I go out, and they're like my age. I go talk to them, and we had a couple beers, and he's like, hey man, just like come down to the ski shop tomorrow. I'll tune up your board for free. I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that I really like, is being able to meet people from that town and hang out with them in, whatever capacity, whether it's just hanging out at the ski shop for an hour, or, striking up a conversation at the bar. I wouldn't say it's community per se, but that's where we've gotten our kind of social interaction. So if there's any rallies coming up that's close by, I'll be down to go to them. It's not really just on our radar kind of thing.
It's wintertime. It is snowboarding season. Don't
That's
worry
right.
about
Yeah,
it.
we're just head down snowboarding.
Yeah, we got things to do, and that is snowboard.
Exactly. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, it's always super cool going to like local restaurants, local bars in small towns. Like I love small town Colorado. Like Buena Vista is one of my favorite spots. Crested View is one of my favorite spots. You can go up to Leadville, one of my favorite spots. Just cool places because there's like they're so cool. Salida is a cool town, or Salida, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic little place. But you meet some interesting characters for sure, obviously. But you also it's almost like you're accepted almost immediately if you just chat them up properly. Some people are like they get mad about, I guess, tourists, right? But the fact that you're getting more cultured just going around and meeting more people, I think that's one of my favorite things to do. I love meeting people. Not everybody does. Some people are cool with their circle, but like, why not add another one every once in a while? It's
oh cool, that guy's playing music outside. Let me go talk to him. Versus, oh, that guy's playing music out there. Like, what's he doing, right?
Beat it, hippie.
Yeah.
Oh, well, cool. So you guys started off a little bit different, and we kind of talked about a little bit of advice, trying to get into the full-time RV life. But what advice would you give someone who's on the fence about transitioning into full-time RV life?
On the fence?
Yeah.
I would say that this has been the best experience of my life. And I think that I think taking the necessary precautions and planning and really knowing what to expect. Like Morgan and I, before we hit the road, we were, Sunday morning, we're popping YouTube on, we're just watching hours of full-time RVers or van lifers or whoever had a really cool video, and just like getting excited and just like, man, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be cool. Like look at these people, they're out here doing it. We want to do that. And now we're that person and we're loving it. But the other side of that is a lot of these people are so real and raw. They show you, hey, here's what went wrong. Here's how we fixed it. Here's what to expect, right? We love those kind of videos. Here's what to expect at this place, blah, blah, blah. We watched hours of that, Jake. And so I feel like my dad talks about this all the time, because he was very skeptical, and he asked me a lot of questions before we went and did this. And it wasn't like he was going to forbid me to go. Like, it was just like healthy skepticism. Like, what are you doing? You should be at your 9-to-5 job and go to school. Sorry, Dad, to listen to this.
Jeez, Dad.
Jeez, Dad. No, he was impressed because he goes, wow, you and Morgan both have answered every question that I have. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do if this breaks down? What if you run out of money? What if this, that, and the other thing? And I think that with the amount of research and just like watching people do this lifestyle already, just armed us with information and expectations. Like, it's not always going to be the Instagram, beautiful hike. Like, no, sometimes you're on the side of the road trying to fix something and it's cold and rainy and you're hours from civilization. Like, that happens. That should not deter you from doing this if you want to. If you feel like you want to go full time and go see the country or the world or wherever, you take your rig, it's worth it, because we're going to look back on this and just know that, I hate to say like, oh, like, when do you know when the good old days were? Like, I think they're always the good old days, but this is definitely one of the times that we're going to look back on the most fondly, for sure.
Yeah. And you're chasing your dream. You said you grew up in the southeast of the States, right? Florida, and you spent some time in Nashville. There is skiing and snowboarding in the East, but it's nothing like the West. I've heard
That's
that from
exactly right.
everybody that skis. I mean, I met more people from the eastern side of states in Colorado than I did anywhere else. Like, oh, we're from
Yep.
New Jersey. Oh, we're from Tennessee. Like, how's it out
Yep.
there? It
Yep.
sucks, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
um,
when we were like gearing up to go on the road, like close to Nashville, so they're in Gatlinburg, there's Ober Mountain. And then
yep.
they're in Indiana, not too far north. It's I want to say it's Paoli Peaks, which is here's Goose. Let me say hi to him.
Hey,
Um,
buddy.
but he's like, I'm gonna climb up here. But
Yep.
Paoli Peaks and Ober Mountain, they're just hills,
Yep.
with some snow on them, and it's nothing like out here. And we've gotten just addicted to it, and to
Yeah.
the point where like, oh man, we're those people that are like, oh, we should move here, that kind of thing. Like, we should
Oh
we
yeah.
should start crowding up the states a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would say like it's been just like the best experience of our lives, and we can't wait to keep it going for sure.
That's awesome. Happy for you guys because it's a dream for a lot of people to go out and do stuff like this, and you guys are actually doing it. But have you
Mhm.
seen like what's like a common misconception that maybe people have about RVing life that you would like to address?
Common misconception about RV life. I
You
think
kind of just said it. It's not all sunshines and rainbows, not this Instagram glam, right?
yes, I would say because I was going to hit that point, and I have one other, but yeah, it's not always amazing. But I think that's like with anything in life. Like you could, like your brand new job could be amazing in the beginning, and then it gets worse, and it ebbs and flows. Or buying a new house, it's amazing, and then things start breaking. Like it happens, right? Throughout everything. We're just a little bit more unique in that sense. Um, but I think another big misconception, especially on like my social media all the time, are people are like, "Oh, it's some trust fund kid." Like, no,
Oh,
like people that full time, like I would say the majority of people that we've met on the road at campgrounds, wherever, if they're not retired, they're still working. They're in town for a seasonal job. They are an electrician that travels or just like finds it easier to live in an RV in that town for an extended period of time. Like I would say most people work. But yeah, you're gonna have your van life influencers that you see on Instagram and all that kind of stuff that they might have some family money, which is fine. Um, but I feel like people see that, oh, this guy lives in an RV and he's in a cool place, like it's rich. I could never do that. Like, no, I have debt. I still work full time. Morgan as well. We both have debt and we still both work full time. We're trying to reach our financial goals, and we see this as a medium to do it. So I would say that that's a huge misconception, especially for young people wanting to do it.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that because it's definitely more difficult. I haven't talked to a whole lot of younger folks that actually have the
Mhm.
debt going into this, right? So that
Yeah.
everyone has debt, but like when the fact that most of the people have 2 kids, 3 kids, if not more than
Mhm.
that, and then they hit the road, but they already kind of set themselves up financially for something like this. They had the house for a
Mhm.
while, sold the house, cashed out on appreciation of 2020. That's why we saw a giant boom of all this
Yeah.
RV life, and it's I don't think it's going anywhere, right? Because housing market's not super easy to get into.
Right.
You can do it,
We'll
absolutely
try
can
and
do
find
it,
it.
and I don't say don't do it because real estate's created more millionaires than anything else, but
Mhm.
it's not always the easiest thing to do. And you guys are living life and chasing your dreams, so I commend you for that, and that's completely awesome. I wish I could do it. I'm working on it. We're getting there. But
We're
anyway,
getting there.
so some of your favorite experiences in one year and maybe some unexpected benefits that you found out about yourself or with the wifey as a couple, even with the dogs, whatever it may be. What are some of those things?
Uh, favorite, I guess favorite experiences. I don't want to be like super broad and say like, oh, we get to snowboard all the time. Like to be specific, um, I keep on going back to a really fond memory when we were camping outside of Big Sky. This is actually like right after we got everything thawed out at the Bishes and Bozeman.
Mhm.
But we were camping in Big Sky. We're 30 minutes away from the mountain. We're in this valley just by ourselves. Goose can run free. It's a beautiful winter wonderland. And I just remember I was walking out. this is awesome. Like I've got
Yeah.
all this land to myself. It's not mine, but I can do whatever I want. It's amazing. And I think that just like the joy that brings Morgan and I is definitely one of the unexpected benefits. Like we knew this was going to be cool, but it's like we're free. If we wanted to get up right now and drive to California, we could. And to us, that's valuable. May not be for somebody else, but like the freedom to be able to do that is awesome. And so I'll say like our time in Telluride again, like, that's one of our favorite places. Whitefish, one of our favorite places. Just being able to be at these amazing places that might seem unattainable to some people because the real estate's so expensive. You can be there and experience that amazing town where there's, where billionaires live, right? And you're just in your RV, just hanging out, in this beautiful location. I think that's amazing. And we've really enjoyed that. And then, I guess another unexpected benefit that I just thought of is, while you're like if you take a week trip somewhere, you're staying in your hotel and you have to unpack your bag, and that can be really annoying and let people fatigue fast when they're on vacation. But we have our bed and our stuff and our animals and our home with us everywhere we go, right? So like that is awesome. Like there's no fatigue involved. Like if I was planning on going snowboarding but I'm kind of tired, like I have my bed that I can go take a nap in. Right? Like it's not like you just go back to the hotel and your stuff's in disarray. Like no, it's just like your house, but it's just down the street from these amazing places, and you can choose to stay there or you can choose to explore. And I think that's really helped us out with the fatigue and like burnout that a lot of people talk about when RVing. So I think that's been a huge benefit.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, the walking out into the perfect moment in like the winter wonderland. I've had a couple of those moments.
Yeah.
You're just like,
yeah, it.
Life's good. Life's good. It's not bad. And there ain't much more than that going on in your head. You're like, I got it good. So
you know what? I'm gonna put on a chair and make a fire and make it a little bit better. And like that's just
make it just a touch better. Maybe even crack a beer. We'll see see how I feel. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. But so on top of that, what's kind of like your future plans? What do you see goals with your RV journey? Do you see it getting longer? Do you see like you might do it for a very long amount of time? Do you have other goals involved with RV journey life? Just kind of walk us through that a little bit.
I think like you said earlier is, real estate makes the most millionaires ever, right? So we do have our eyes on that. So finding
Boise.
Hey, Twin Falls.
Hey, you're right there. You're right there.
I know. So we did look at Boise for a while, and like Boise and that's where you are, right? You're in Boise?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we looked at Boise, and I think what we wanted was kind of specific. So like, and we're just on Zillow, like looking and kind of throwing out feelers where we can. But Boise is such an awesome city, and it blew me out of the water. Like I love visiting it. We've been there a couple times now, and I never would have suspected that. Being from like, you don't. Why would I ever go to Boise if I'm living in Pensacola and Nashville? Like, there's almost no reason for me to go.
That's okay. Keep out. Like, so no one's come.
Yeah. It's just, I love it now. So if we can afford what we're looking for there, yeah, we'd be there. But Twin Falls, Idaho, little plug. We love that little town. 2 hours from Boise. So maybe on the horizon we'll have something there. We're kind of making some moves over there, but we'll see. So to answer your question, if we do get a investment property in real estate and kind of set ourselves up for future and kids and that kind of thing, we still do plan to be on the road as much as possible because we love it, especially during the winter season, being able to go to these resorts. We want to find somewhere that's kind of centrally located that we can just pop out to all of these amazing places that we haven't been or have been before and we loved it. We want to go back. That would be my goal. Like just being able to camp as much as possible, because that's what makes me happy is, like the scene we just described. Like I love that feeling, and I don't ever want to get rid of that just because we have to, settle down, Right? We don't necessarily have to. We've got a house on wheels that we can go take anytime we want.
Yeah. What is settle down? That's kind of like you can define that yourself, right?
Yes, exactly.
Not the stereotypical settle down. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't tell me.
Don't tell me what to do. But oh man, that's awesome. I'm excited for you and your future. That'd be super sweet to see all that come to fruition for you. Gadgets and gizmos, nothing too crazy. It sounds like you're almost living a minimalistic lifestyle. You got a smaller unit and traveling light. It sounds like you're only a year into this, but have you found anything that really helps you? I guess you and your RV life, so you guys are kind of cold weather campers, at least during the winter time, right? You're snowboarders. You chase the mountain, chase the snow, wherever it goes. You stay for a little while. Is there anything that you've seen that like really like, man, I can't camp without this thing, or I can't RV without this thing? Is there anything like that you guys have?
Well, I would say that the first thing that comes to mind is our generator. Our generator.
Yeah, you gotta have it. Gotta stay warm.
It got to, and I got so we have the Predator 3500 generator. I think we got it from Tractor Supply, and it's pretty cheap in the grand scheme of generators. We have probably close to 3,000 hours on that generator, and we've had to change the spark plug on it twice. Runs like a charm. I have been blown away by that generator. So if you guys are looking for a cheap one, I would recommend that one for sure. It's also one of the quiet ones, the 3500 inverter generator. So I would say that's the first thing that comes to mind is if we didn't have that, we've been in some situations where we ran out of solar and really just energy came where the generator came in super clutch. Now everything I'm thinking of here is it's kind of unique, and everyone knows the apps to use to find camping, especially if you're boondocking. There's iOverlander and Campendium. A lot of people use those to find campsites. In the winter, it can get pretty hard to find camping, whether the road is closed or it's just inaccessible due to the amount of snow. So we recently got a drone, Jake, and so we've used the drone. We'll get to a road on our. So what's up there? I will use the drone to go see if there's open camping, right? And if the road is possible. No, literally, the future is here. We can take the drone, go to the campsite, and I can go putts around and see if it's big enough for us. And it's not those because a lot of people know you'll go down a road. Oh no, all the camping is there. I gotta find a place to turn around. Oh no, there's not a place to turn around. I gotta back this thing up a mile. And it's awful. At least we've had to do that before the drone. So I would say that thing, well, obviously it's good for social media and we can get some really cool shots and it's a lot of fun to fly. But in terms of being a gadget or gizmo for the RV life is if you can get, there are cheap ones out there. Fly up there, see if there's anything for you, and you fly right back and then go find your spot.
Save yourself some troubles from going up the trail. That's I've never heard that, but it makes total sense to me.
Yeah, I know. The future's here, Jake. I'm telling you.
The future's huge. Go up there. Go see. It's like R2D2. Go check it out. I'll come back behind you. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, cool, Jack. It's been awesome talking to you so far. Hearing your journey into the RV life and how you guys are sustaining it and doing all that, because it's something that I've always wanted to do and I'm really interested in how people do it. And I'm guessing there's, like yourself, you were watching people do this. And this is kind of why I started talking to full-timers, because listening to full-timers is how more full-timers are going to actually go out and do it. You guys are teaching them. We're talking about it conversationally, but it's a full. If you're watching this is how you do it. I'm putting some more out there. I've talked to 30 of y'all maybe now, and there's more out there that are doing it. Obviously, there's thousands of people that do it. So I'll never run dry of people to talk to about full-time RV.
Oh, for sure.
But you've kind of explained this question. This is my wrap-up question. you've explained it and kind of hit on it a couple of times, but like, what's your why? I know you kind of started it because that was cool idea. Like, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to go snowboarding
Yeah.
all throughout the winter. Like, why can't we just take a home on wheels and save money? Because it is part of your plan of saving money in the long term. But what's your why? I wish Morgan was in here to talk about it. Plug into Morgan, but what is your why?
I'd say kind of to the points that you alluded to. It's, this gave us access to our favorite hobby and something that Morgan and I love to do together. And it gave us the opportunity to do it without changing up our lifestyle in terms of work. I guess our lifestyle has changed a good bit, but we didn't have to make insane changes to accomplish this. Just some planning, some saving, doing the right thing. And then here we are, we're able to snowboard at world-renowned resorts all the time. And then summer is obviously just a plus because this country is beautiful in the summer. But I would say, like, even deeper than that, we've found a really cool niche where people are like, oh, I can do that too. And you can kind of live Morgan coined this. She called it traditionally untraditional, where you can have your job and you can make your salary and your money in your 9-to-5 job, but you can still travel. Like, if you're remote, you don't just have to do full time. Like, you can go to Europe and work for a month if you wanted to. And I think that's opened up a huge opportunity for a lot of people. And I think that why we keep going and why I kind of post on social media is like, hey, I'm a normal dude. I've got debt, normal lifestyle, traditional upbringing, went to college, had the 9-to-5. Everything was kind of, going along the traditional path. And then we were just like, let's switch it up a little bit. And I think that's really resonated with a lot of people that, hey, okay, I work remote. Can I do this? Yeah, you absolutely could. Shout out Starlink that makes it happen, but
that helps.
It's definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It's cool to hear people say, like, oh man, you kind of inspired me to start looking at this kind of stuff. And that's been really cool to hear.
Well, Jack, you've done it. I mean, you proved a year. I'm guessing the first couple months were brutal, like you kind of said, but like you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's gotten nothing but better for you. It sounds like we got connected through more social media. And did you have like a small following a year ago, and now you have 11,000 plus on TikTok?
Yeah, it was a video of Goose that kind of like held me into like, oh, maybe I should start doing social media. And I was doing it in Nashville, just like hiking a lot, and kind of showing people, or like we would do national park trips, and like I'd kind of do a lot of what to expect videos. And then it was like a small 2,000 following, and then went up into around 12,000 people now. And we just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I love making YouTube videos. They're so much fun. Like watching the footage back. I love that kind of stuff. So even if 1,000 people want to be part of the channel, that's cool with me. I love it. And it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I would say, doing, like TikTok, we talked to most of the people like through DMs and that kind of stuff. And a lot of them are saying like, oh, this is cool, man. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, would you say that I just have to get a remote job, or how much money do you think I could save up or something like that? And it's cool talking to those people and just kind of like I can see them walking through their thought process, and it's like, here's what I did. We're doing fine. So you could absolutely do it.
That's cool. You heard it here first from Jack. Jack says you can do it. Jack's doing it. Jack's a non-debt free young man trying to make it in this world. And he's doing it so you can do it. It's tough out there, man. It's tough, but I'm glad that you.
And one thing I want to say about like podcasts like this, Jake, and these are where people find information, right? Like, this is talking to people or watching videos on YouTube. The long form type of conversations are where you can actually get the most insight. Like, I remember when I first started watching YouTube videos, some people was like, oh, 40-minute, I don't have time for that. And now I look for the 40-minute videos because I know that the most insight's going to be in that. And in forums like this, whether it be podcasts or YouTube, are the way that people find out information and know what to expect, and they don't get themselves in trouble, whether that be physically or financially, or things like break, like, how to keep things up. Like, this is the format to find that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you doing this and having me on for sure.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm gonna use that plug. 114. That's where it's at.
Yeah, that's right.
I really do. I wanted to do that. I wanted to start this because of that reason. It's to get into this life. One, to find it like the right camper for you. It's hard to find the information. Manufacturer websites are not that great. No offense to anybody listening from the manufacturers. It's just they're constantly changing. Every year is a different year. Everyone wants to know a little deeper about it. So I started talking to those guys. Get those on there because there's a telephone game from manufacturer to dealer to customer. Now I started talking to you guys, full timers, because that's hard to find information too. Like, how do I do this? How do I do this properly? There's a million different apps and stuff out there, 1,000 trails. You can buy one of those. You can buy a coast to coast membership. You can buy an RV Life app Pro, get an Overlander, OnX Off Road for overlanding, iOverland, Campendium, RV Pro Life. There's so many different things. It's like, well, let's narrow it down for you and make it easier for you. So I really do appreciate that compliment that the long form is where it's at for people that want to do stuff like this.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else, Jack, before we kind of sign off here, that you would like to tell the people? Did you miss anything?
I don't think so. Honestly, well, I guess one thing is, don't be shy from going to boondocks. Like, we've talked to a lot of people at campgrounds specifically. It's, I could never. And it's like, do you have a generator? Yeah. Do you have a truck that can get you there? Yeah. What are you doing? Like, there's so much of this country that you don't have to have a 4Runner or a big lifted Jeep to get to, and you can take your rig safely. Might I add, you have to do some research on where you're going. But there's a whole other side of camping that you can go out and do. For even with a fifth wheel and those big rigs, we've seen a lot of people where we are. Just got to do your research and find it. But yeah, I would say start to do some exploration and that kind of thing. It's worth it. We've loved it. It's worth it. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, guys. For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, buddy. I'm happy for you. This world, this U.S. continent or country is fantastic. It is. We got state size of countries. We got literally almost every biome you can think of, geographical monuments, whatever it may be, national parks that are just eye-goggling, incredible. And the fact that some people never leave their hometown just mind boggles me.
I know.
I'm like, you guys got to get out and see some stuff. There's a lot of cool things.
You got to go see it. There's something for everybody. You got to go see it. It's incredible. You won't regret it. That's for sure.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, Jack, unfortunately, we didn't get to meet Morgan, but it was a pleasure meeting you today. We haven't even had a phone conversation besides texting on. We texted a little bit.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely awesome. But everyone out there listening, give them a follow. It's called Mack on the Road, MACK on the Road on YouTube. They're growing up there at 1.1 thousand subscribers. He loves making them. He's going to keep doing it. Their TikTok is their main channel, and he's been killing it on there. So follow him on there as well. And if you're listening to us, guys, give us a follow because it keeps us going, helps us grow, and it keeps me in the job. So that'd be kind of cool. And then RV Voice YouTube. Yeah, RV Voice YouTube is where all of our episodes are dropped onto first, but we also on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, a couple other ones, Amazon Music, and I think YouTube Music as well. If I'm not on one of them and you really want me to be on there, let me know in the comments. But Jack, thank you so much. It was a pleasure seeing a feature from Goose today. And then everybody else out there, please stay tuned for more from the RV Voice.